Welcome back everyone. This is video 3 on circular breathing. So now this is the stage where you feel comfortable, you've done the whole circular breathing on the mouthpiece and neck, and now you've got the whole body of the saxophone. And you can do this on the tenor, baritone. Baritone's a lot harder to do, but if you're a tenor player, I would say grab your tenor sax, and practice with the saxophone that you're most comfortable with. And also with soprano. You'll hear me in the next video doing it on soprano. So now we're going to do the same thing, but we're now going to do it on specific notes. We're going to circular breathe on specific notes. So we're going to do exactly the same thing that we did with the mouthpiece and the neck. But this time we're going to play a B to start off with, or a C. I find that these two notes are the most easiest because if there's only one keypad pressed, there's less resistance because there's more tone holes open. So B and C are really, really good notes to practice on. A is a good note, it's 2 pads down. It's starting to feel a little bit resistant, and then it's very resistant with the G. It just means that the air is a bit harder to push through and you have to support it more through the circular breath. You'll feel this. And the sound might just cut out. That is normal. It's just because you need to also readjust your throat as if like you're playing a G, but it's very, very, very specific when you're circular breathing, because when you do the circular breath, you've got to push the air so quickly and fast through before the sound cuts out. So if your sound just cuts out, it means you're just not supporting the air strong enough through the note. And if you just stay on those 2 notes, B and C first, and then A, and then just do that so it's just like second nature, and then you can progress onto G, and then you can do the high notes, which the higher you go, the harder it is to circular breathe on, because it means that you don't have such an open throat. And when you do circular breathe, you actually use quite an open throat to circular breathe, because we're just puffing the air out and in. And it's just like this, our throat is very open and wide when we're doing this. So as you go up higher, the saxophone up the upper notes, it is a little bit harder, and this is normal. So we're going to start with just the B. Same thing, mouthpiece, same position, like you would normally when you're just playing normally. Or if you find, like I said before, the circular breathing is easier, a bit less mouthpiece or more mouthpiece, just do what feels better for you. So I'm going to start with my cheeks out. So I'm going to just do an inhale, exhale at the same time on B. I'm not going to do the blowout normally at the end. I'm just going to do the circular in-out breath, inhale, exhale at the same time, just to get used to it on the note B. And that's it. I just did a circular breath. Okay, I'll just try and do it a bit more noisy, my sniffing in, so you hear it. And that's it. That's pretty much the loudest I can sniff in. Okay, so I don't know if you're hearing that, but I'm basically, I start with a normal little note, on a normal blow on the B, and then I puff my cheeks and I just sniff in through the nose. And then that's the circular breath I've just done. Okay, I'll do it again. There we are. I'll do it one more time. So when I do that, that's when I do the circular breath. And there we are. That's a circular breath. Now we're going to add the extra bit, which is the actual circular breathing bit. So we're going to do the circular breath, and then we're going to blow normally through the saxophone. And that means you hold in the note after the circular breath, which is the most difficult to do, to join those 2 things up. Doing the circular breath and then blowing normal air out without creating that gap in the sound is the trickiest part of circular breathing. Do it again. So circular breath, and this time I'm going to blow normal air out. And that's it. I just did at least 4 circular breaths, and what I just did, I was circular breathing, blowed it out, and then when I felt like I needed to take a breath, I circular breathed and then blew normal air out. Felt like taking a breath, so I circular breathed and blew normal air out again. Okay, and the important thing to remember, like I said in the previous video, is that circular breathing is not like a normal breath. Like you can take a big breath in a normal breath and break the sound. You stop and, but with circular breathing, you can't. You obviously, that's the whole point, not to take a breath, proper breath, and break the sound and stop the sound. So circular breathing is like a bit of a half breath. You'll just find that you lose air quite quickly. So you'll have to do circular breaths more often. You don't do it all the time, but you just every few seconds or 4 seconds, you might feel that you need to do a circular breath. And that's completely normal. And it also just depends on the type of music you're playing, the less strenuous, if it's more strenuous, louder, softer, all these type of aspects of the music. And whether how experienced you are as well with circular breathing and your stamina, because it takes a lot of stamina and energy. Now we're going to go to C. So C is the same thing. We're just going to do the same thing. So I've got the C happening, and it should feel exactly as comfortable as the B. So I'm just going to circular breathe, and you'll see it, and I'm just going to keep blow normal air. I'll do 4 circular breaths, and you'll hear that I'm just continuing the sound without any gap. And that's it. That's on C, circular breathing. Now you might have heard that my sound is getting a little bit spitty. Now that is normal because the spit collects because we're sort of breathing in and weirdly exhaling, inhaling at the same time. We have extra saliva that is popping out of our mouths into the mouthpiece and sitting on the reed. So the way to get that is just to do a sudden, louder circular breath and push more faster air when you're exhaling. So if you do a bit of it more like a forte dynamic, and you'll flush out all the saliva out of the mouthpiece and reed, and that should fix that. So do it after, maybe you might need to do it, sort of push faster air in a number of circular breaths just to push the spit out, because you obviously can't stop and suck up the spit. So that's the way to go with that, and that's totally normal if that happens. And the more experience you get with circular breathing, that will be less and less happening, because you'll learn to control your saliva. At the beginning, when you're first circular breathing, there's a lot of spit going through the mouthpiece, but then it will diminish. It will get better and better. Now what we're going to do, we're just going to now move notes. So change notes as we're circular breathing. So you'll just hear, actually before we do that, we'll first do 4 beats on a note. Just skipped a step. So we've done the B and the C. And what we're going to do now, we're just going to do B, and I'm going to do it for 4 beats, and I'm going to circular breathe on the 4th beat. And this is a really good technique because it makes you just do it automatically without thinking. And if when you really want to do it, when you're not even prepared, you just have to do it on the 4th beat. And it's just a really good technique to do. Just like scales, practicing scales is the same sort of thing in time. So with a metronome, with scales, you'd be doing it with a metronome. Well, this is like a little bit like with a metronome, you'll circular breathe into a metronome. Okay, so I'll just go back on my B, and I'll just breathe, play the note normally on the first 3 beats, and on the 4th beat, you'll hear that I do the circular breath. And that's it. So that's a really good practice method. That's what I used to do to get better and better at it. And I was doing it on all notes. And then you'll go to the A, 2 fingers, which will feel a little bit more resistance, which is good practice. And the same way, circular breathe on the 4th beat. So we hold the 3 and we circular breathe on the 4th beat. So first of all, suck the spit. Try and get it always a clear sound. That's it. And then on the G, you'll hear that the G has a little bit of resistance. And you'll hear it again. I'll just do the same thing again. Breathing normally through the G, 3 beats, and then taking a breath on the 4th beat when I indicate with my hand. And I was just emphasizing the first downbeat just so you heard when I was finishing the circular breath. And that's it. And now what you can do, you can now just play random notes. So when I practice circular breathing, I just play like I ad lib, I improv a melody, slow melody, and I just to get now used to doing different notes with circular breathing, I just do it freely. And I don't follow music, I don't look at repertoire. I remember when I was first learning how to change notes and circular breathing, which is a really difficult thing to do because you've got to think of the notes and then the breathing and everything, sort of 3 things at once. But so now I'm just going to do a little melody. I'm going to add the D, I'm going to add the E, the octave key. I don't know where I'll go, but I'll just play a little melody. It's nice and slow, lyrical melody, and I'll just circular breathe, and you'll hopefully hear what I'm circular breathing. And I just made that melody up, and I was just circular breathing. So you heard that I had vibrato all the time. I find it's just, for me, it's just hard not to play it with vibrato when I'm circular breathing. So you'll just play normally, and if you find that vibrato helps you, well, play it with vibrato, practice it with vibrato. If it doesn't, just play it with a straight sound. That's fine. Thank you, and listen up for the next video, which is now, I'll jump on my soprano saxophone and I will show you how to use trills with circular breathing, and scales is a great method to get your circular breathing before you jump on actual repertoire. See you soon.